Hi, I'm Evan Pantazzi. Today I want to talk about kata Bassai. Now, there's differences in the way people interpret the name Bassai to mean breaking down the fortress or seizing the fortress. And I guess seizing would be a term that would mean capturing, much like breaking down the fortress. But I think people put too much emphasis on that aspect rather than what is the fortress. Okay, when you look at Kyusho, you try to take an inner look at everything. So we have to consider what is a fortress. Now, to me, the beginning of the kata and two moves in the kata show me that the fortress is actually the rib cage and how to get into it or take control of it, or more accurately, take control of the inner structures of the fortress, being the heart, the lungs, the diaphragm, even the liver, kidneys, stomach, the organs. And this is the main concept that I put into my Bassai. Now, I'm thinking about doing a video on breaking down how to get control of the fortress in many of the different aspects of Bassai. But right now, I just want you to think a little differently when you look into your katas and look into your karate or your tai chi or your Wing Chun or whatever forms you do in your particular martial arts style. Now, Bassai, again, meaning to seize or to break down the fortress, has a lot of different clues in it as to what it could be. The opening bow, for example, how the hands draw in towards you. And I've mentioned this in Seiyuchin as well, mapping out the blood vessels and the blood system of the body in Kata Seiyuchin. And Kata Seiyuchin is also seizing and tearing in its interpretation. Again, in one interpretation, there could be many, and there could be many different ways you could play that kata. To me, it's an attack directly on the blood system. It's a mapping of the blood system and how to effectively attack the different weak targets in that blood structure. But the hands come in toward the head, the chest. The right hand's a fist, the left hand a palm over, coming in toward the chest, signifying the rib cage protecting the heart. And there's one clue again to the Bassai and the breaking down of the fortress or the seizing of the fortress or how to penetrate the fortress. And the fortress, again, being the rib cage or the rib structure. Now you have the sternum, you have the connective tissue, you have the ribs themselves. And you should understand the anatomy on how these absorb shock, number one, so that a full-fisted punch into the rib cage hurts. It can break a rib, definitely. It can even damage the outer layers of the organs or the underlying structures. But understanding how to get past those gates or those protections that the ribs offer. And you have to remember that nature has designed the rib cage to be pliable, to be like a suspension bridge where it dissipates power or an intrusion around the rib and into the connective tissues to first absorb more shock, like a shock absorber in a car, and then into more strong structures, such as the sternum itself and also the spine. So again, this is what I conceive of as the fortress in Bassai, and what I'm urging you to do is to not just take the term that they classify it or worry so much about what the real name is, breaking down the fortress or seizing the fortress or whatever you're doing. But what is the fortress and what are you actually trying to accomplish? That's the main goal of Kyusho, is to understand the underlying vital structures of the human anatomy and how to best access them within our martial art.